Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick overview of the laser gun and charge pack spec. I'm gonna explain the different terminology that I use. I'm gonna give an example of my implementation of it. Obviously, I'm not gonna show any code. And very important, everything you see is subject to change because I'm recording this before the release. And if we see fit any changes, then we're gonna do them, right? So this is more to explain the terminology, give you an example of how it should be working, and just give you an overall overview of what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna start by going over the spec. And the spec, you can read all of these details, they're not important, right? Everything that you see here must have its own texture, its own name, its implementation must be unique. The tools and armors must have different values to any of the ones already found in game. Everything should have a recipe, right? Everything must have a recipe of its own, and most of those recipes, especially the one of the armor, should use the item that you implemented in phase 1. If what you implemented in phase 1 was a cake, then you use the cake. It was meant to be funny, right? That was the whole idea of it, right? So the first thing you have to implement is a laser gun. Okay, so you have to implement an item that, and I'm gonna read this through the video. Implement a charge pack. That's the first thing that you should be implemented. That you can only a stack size. Stack size is how many you can hold at any given point, right? Minecraft, you can normally hold 64 of any given item. Well, this one you can only hold one of them, right? And in Minecraft, not every item has a durability, right? For example, sticks, ores, blocks don't have durabilities, but pickaxes, swords, shovels do have durabilities that go down as you use them to break, right? So this charge pack needs to have a durability. How much durability? That is up to you, but it must have a max durability. And when I right click it, it must search my inventory for a redstone dust or a redstone block, and it will consume it, right? And the dust will have one amount defined to it, and the redstone block will have a different amount. That's what it means by two different amounts. If the durability is already maxed, it should not raise the durability more than the max, nor should it run the algorithm of searching through the inventory. This is more for efficiency's sake. Okay, and that's it for the charger for now. Then it says implement a laser gun item based on the bow. So it needs to have all the basic functionalities of a bow. The only difference being that instead of arrows, it'll look for the charge pack that you implemented, and it'll consume some of its durability, that's also defined by you, to shoot a beam entity, right? Just like the bow shoots an arrow entity spawned from the arrow item, yours will shoot a beam entity, but it'll shoot from the charge pack entity item, sorry, right? And then you need to implement that beam entity, right? So you need to check how the arrow entity is formed, that it works in order to do a beam pretty much identical to the arrow entity, right? It's based on that arrow entity, and it'll despawn when you walk on it, right? An arrow, when you walk on it, after you shoot it, if it didn't hit on anything, you'll just pick it back up. This beam entity will just disappear. It'll die when, like, that's the term that they use in code. It'll die when you walk over it. So the player should never have a beam item in their inventory, and there should not be a beam item in any of the tabs nor anywhere. Okay? And the laser gun's draw speed, how fast you can fire any given beam, will be faster than a regular bow will shoot an arrow, and it must have a higher damage than the bow. If you're on creative, it should not consider having a charge pack or not, right? So if I'm on creative mode, if I right click it, it'll shoot. It won't really even look for the charge pack, or it can look for it, it just won't use any charge of it, right? The charge pack should never go below 1 charge, or below 1 durability for that matter, and it will never break, right? So worst case scenario, it'll stay in 1. If 1 durability, it will display 0 on the tooltip, but it won't show, so it should always show 1 less of what it actually has, and it should show this on the tooltip, right? I'll tell you guys specifically what the tooltip is. And the laser gun must have and use durability like a regular bow and all the attributes to it, but the durability must be higher than a normal bow's. Okay, so now let me go show you what it means by this. Let me first make a day, so time set day. Right, Minecraft has commands that you can run. You can see that if I go to my tab, it's right here, laser gun and energy pack, and the beam is here, right? That's just because I put it just for testing purposes, but I can easily get rid of this. Okay, and if I right click it, it draws back like an arrow, and if I go near the aim at the horse, I'm shooting it, right? The animation is a bit off. See, it goes in to the left, even though it's actually hitting most of the time. See that it kind of bounces back. That's all right. And if I walk up to the ones that hit the floor, they disappear. They don't actually go to my inventory. And if I go right now, this has 0. So if I right click it, shift right click it, it goes down. This goes up. Right now I'm in creative, so I need to game mode survival, and it has 125. And if I do this and I hit, it has 124. And as you saw, the durability of my laser gun actually did go down. Okay, and if I was at 0, I kept shooting and nothing would have happened. Okay, and it's also stronger than a normal bow because you saw I just one shot that horse and that sheep, and a normal bow would not have done that. Okay, and this is what I mean by tooltip. Item recharges, all those words that you see there, that's the tooltip, and that's where it says the amount of charge I have. Okay, and I think that's all. I don't think I'm missing anything specific. This that you see in the corner is another mod that I installed. You don't have to worry, you don't have to have that. Those are all the items that I've implemented. Some have to do with the other specs, some don't. I program on my free time and I find it fun. So yeah, I think that's all.